Okay, so in this video, we're doing a deck profile for an Overlord red-blue military deck. So this deck is mostly focused on the new SR from set 3, which is the draconoid dreadnought fuze-ikazuchi. So this card is going to be the main focus of our deck, and then we'll be using cards from set 3 to kind of help dig for it, so that way we can use it to its best of its ability. So with that, we are using Overlords. That way we do have a hand, so we can actually use both abilities. So again, we'll go right into it. So we have 4. This is the main unit, is the draconoid dreadnought. So this one, it does have retaliate, so it is harder for our opponents to remove it, because it does have 7 HP without attacking it like multiple times if they have to use units to try to kill it. It also gives all of our military 1 strike, as well as itself, and we're mostly using it for the restanding. So when it's attacked, you can either special summon a military level 1 or less from your hand, or you can use it to restand a unit. So we're actually using it to restand the different militaries in our deck, so that way we can do more damage, and it can potentially just do multiple swings with big strike units. Next we have 1 Captain Liberty and then 1 Captain Zombie. So again, both of these are military, and then for Captain Zombie, because most of the deck is military, we can able to recur it. Same with Captain Liberty. The idea is to keep returning them back. Captain Zombie for destroying sets, and then Liberty just to be a continuous attacker. Next we have 3 bigwig owl from set 1. So this is mostly a counter for the drawing, as well as it can be used on like maybe the first turn to attack to draw cards, so that we can keep hand advantage. This is the only one of the few non-military cards in our deck. Next we have 4 of nyudou of the panjandrum. So this one is, for its counter, is mostly for to exhaust an opponent's ruler. So it does require your opponent to kind of play around it, where they probably have to swing with their ruler first before they start swinging. Otherwise, they could, have their ruler rested and then they lose that attack. But it is also a level 1 military, so it can be restood by draconaut, and with having 2 base strike with draconoid, it will become a 3 strike. It also gives all of our other units +1 attack, so that way it gives them more attacking power for our lower, our other level 1 units, in case we need to just use it to attack. It also gives cards like Liberty, a 6 power attack, so I can kill some of the bigger units that have like 6 HP. Next we have 4 breach demolition unit. So this one gets an additional 3 attack whenever it attacks a defense zone. So that way it's good for clearing that center slot. And again, it is a level 1 military. With 2 strikes, it becomes a 3 striker that we can use to like clear the defense zone, and then attack with the draconoid and restand this, and then use it to attack again. So it's another 3 strike unit. So that way we can deal more damage. Next we have 4 security force recruit. This is actually one of the starter deck cards. So this card is it has a touchdown. Whenever it comes into play, you can look at the top card of your deck. And if it's a military, you can reveal it to your opponent. You can add it to your hand. So essentially, it's a draw 1. In most of the units, it will actually draw a card. So the only thing it doesn't draw is a few of the counters, as well as some of as well as one of the events that we have later on. So aside from the event, though, like the counters, usually you want it up there anyway, because it'll mean that your opponent's going to be running into a counter when they try to swing. But other than that, it is a level 1 military that can be again restood with draconoid, in case we're attacking like into, say, an empty defense zone. Next we have 2 full armor infantry, another card from the starter deck. This one has 5 HP as well as 2 strike again, so it is again another military we can restand. You can actually run 4 of this instead of 2 if you want to replace like the next card that we'll go over instead of, because this one is just a vanilla, and a lot of times the HP doesn't make that much of a difference, because a lot of units can easily go over 5 HP. And because it is an Overlord deck, sometimes you are tapping out. But then the other unit that we run for level 1 is Vilma. So you can replace Vilma with maybe more infantry, or if you want to use more Vilmas, this will usually depend on your like group or like the area that you play. If they find that there's a lot of touchdown or overdrives, you want to use Vilma for to like stop, and you can use it place in the defense zone because it kind of bolsters the surfaces, kind of uses defensively. But then Vilma allows you to stop other interactions. So both of these you could go like 4 of each of either or, but I do like the full armor infantry because it does have 2 strike. So sometimes you can use it as just an attacker that can be restood with draconoid. For some of the zeros, last couple zeros we have hardsuit assault team Jinrai. So this one is a 0 cost military, but we're using it mostly for its 2 strike because again with draconoid it becomes a 3 strike. We are running 4 specialist bullseye wolf. So when it comes into play through touchdown, you can either deal 1 damage to your opponent or you can deal 1 damage to a unit. Mostly we're using it as a deal damage to a unit, mostly just filler because of the cost requirement for Overlord. So that's why we have to run a few level 0s for this one. We are also running 3 of GNG MQ hellkite drone. So this is a level 0 military that when it hits the for the counter check, it actually special summons itself to the attack zone. So it kind of can help keep your board open, as well as keep more military units that you can summon. And lastly, we have 2 Army Magus Jake. Again, just the military level 0 with 4 power, as well as 3 HP. That can be used to restand. Next we have our events. So for this one we have 4 Supernatural Citizens Act. So because we are looking sometimes to play a longer game because we're continuing trying to attack with draconoid or try to get there, we want to keep this to heal out cards and damage, especially if you want to heal out like Captain Zombie or Captain Liberty, so that way you can kind of keep recurring them back and forth. And then some of the level 1s you can also put in your drop zone for one of our other counters as well, so that way we can also keep recurring them. Next we have 2 Normandy joint military exercises. So this is just it's another military card that you can choose 1 military card of level 2 or less in your damage zone and put into your hand. So this again counts like Captain Liberty, Captain Zombie. It can be used to put any of like the level 1s that are in your damage. So again, it's sort of like a pseudo heal 1, and then that way you can just keep up card advantage. So that way you never run out of units to call. And then we're also using 4 of the Grace of Spring. This is one of the newer cards from set 3. So this is the one for paying 1. You can look at the top 4 cards, and you can add a non-legendary card. So the only thing you can't add in this deck is like Captain Liberty to your hand, and then they put the rest of the cards on the bottom of your deck. So this is usually mostly meant to be digging for draconoid for our SR, as well as maybe or a different unit that you want to use to attack. So again, it just kind of like filters through our deck, so we can dig for draconoids or look for a unit that we might need. So like you could even take like Captain Zombie if you want a set destruction, or even maybe if you want breach demolition, so that way you can hit the center slot, or if not, can just be where it digs out another card deep. So this is the only card with like security force that we don't want to see, because again we can't take it, and it's not a counter, so it means that it will end up getting stuck in our damage. So that's the only drawback of this card, but it is very helpful to be looking. So instead of just randomly drawing 1 card, it does give you more of a card selection, because you get to see more cards in. And lastly, we have 2 dimensional traversal vessel arc. So this is just to choose 1 military of level 1 or less in your graveyard and return to your hand. So again, like with Citizens Act, you can kind of heal out units that you want to bring back to your hand, that you can reuse it. So that way it also can be used to, like, if you want to bring back nyudou to pump your team, as well as because it does have fairly good strike power. Or you can again return any other military units of level 1 that will work with our draconoid for restanding. But that's all for this deck. And then again, the deck list for this will be in the description below. And then again, if you have any other decks that you would like to see, you can you can type in the comment section, and then there'll be other decks I'll be looking at too in the coming weeks. Because again, with set 3, it opened up the card pool very much, that there's so many decks to build, and there's different types, and there's also different variations of like same archetypes that you can use to build. But with that, thank you for watching, and then I'll see you guys in the next one.